5 days after a massive 7.8 magnitude earthquake rocked Turkey and Syria, the number of dead is staggering. Drone footage and satellite imagery have conveyed the stark reality of widespread destruction in an area that straddles two very different nations. The scale of the disaster is enormous. "We've done a bit of mapping of the size of the affected area," said Caroline Holt, Director of Disasters, Climate and Crises at the International Federation of the Red Cross. "It's the size of France." United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres said Thursday that we haven't yet seen the full extent of the damage and of the humanitarian crisis unfolding before our eyes, while estimates from the World Health Organization suggest up to 23 million people could be impacted by the natural disaster. Once search efforts have ended, attention will turn to longer-term reconstruction. Turkey has suffered earthquakes in the past, and has rebuilt. But how much can be learned from this history, and will these lessons be implemented? And will the same efforts be matched across the border? The death toll broke the grim milestone of 22,000 on Friday. As it continues to climb, so too have feelings of anger and resentment. Turkey is no stranger to earthquakes, and many feel that the government failed to prepare for another catastrophic event. This frustration dogged Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan as he made a whistle-stop tour of the Kahramanmaraş region near the epicenter of the deadly earthquake on Wednesday and Thursday. Erdogan defended his government's response, admitting to shortcomings, before stressing that it's not possible to be prepared for such a disaster. He also announced that the government's target was to rebuild in 1 year, though experts told CNN it could take much longer. Major earthquakes such as these are infrequent, but many in Turkey are still harrowed by memories of the 1999 Izmit earthquake in the Marmara region. Ajay Chiber, an economist who was World Bank director for Turkey when that 7.6 magnitude quake struck 2 decades ago, told CNN that it's like a bad movie come back again. Similar to this week's event, that tremor struck in the early hours, but it occurred in the country's northwest, a densely populated area closer to Istanbul. He said it lasted around 45 seconds, leaving more than 17,000 dead and an estimated 500,000 people homeless. Flying into the region in the immediate aftermath, Chiber told CNN he hadn't seen that much devastation before. He recalled traveling in with the Japanese and German ambassadors at the time, who told him this looks to us like World War II. Buildings flattened like pancakes were among the apocalyptic scenes Chiber encountered in 1999. In the city of Galkuk, where a naval base was located, he remembered seeing submarines that were tossed up out of the water, lying 300, 400 feet up a mountain. You could see submarines sitting there. It was unbelievable. And what I'm seeing now is just a redo, he said. Some may question if the Turkish president's current target of a year for reconstruction is achievable, given he also said that more than 6,000 buildings had collapsed. But Chiber pointed out that Turkey is capable of moving very, very swiftly if they can get their act together on this. Chiber helped implement a 4-part recovery plan in the wake of the 1999 disaster that provided cash to residents, aided in reconstructing infrastructure and housing, established an insurance system, and developed an organizational system that cascaded from a national level down to the community for overall coordination efforts. Compared to disasters around the world, it was one of the most rapid reconstruction and recoveries that I ever saw, Chiber said. He added that the majority of the work was completed in 2 years. Ismail Baris, professor of social work at Istanbul's Üsküdar University and former mayor of Galkuk at the time of the quake, told CNN in an email that in addition to the collapsed private and public buildings, the city's water transport pipes, water supply network, sewage system, storm water system were completely destroyed, as well as 80% of the city's roads. He added that the full reconstruction of the city took 4 years. However, much of the reconstruction then was aided by the Turkish army, which was brought in when many local administrations collapsed. Chiber said this enabled the rubble clearing to be done quickly. But Izmit is in the heartland of Turkey, said Chiber. Many Kurds live in the areas hit by the earthquake, and bringing in the army may cause problems. This is a huge challenge, said Ilan Kelman, professor of disasters and health at University College London. While the army has the personnel and resources, they also have the unfortunate history of often abusing their power, Kelman told CNN. The Kurds in that region and many Turks in that region, understandably, would be very hesitant to have the army in the streets even more than they have been, he said. Experts said there also needs to be a review of what went wrong. The country has strict rules that came into place after 1999 construction regulations were implemented that required the more modern builds to be able to withstand these quakes. Yet many of the apartment blocks within the earthquake zone appear to have been newly constructed and still collapsed.